Good evening. I'm Noreen McClendon. I'm your facilitator and your host, and this is Free to Heal, where we are formerly incarcerated and loved ones, and we come together every week so that we can be better and we can heal the wounds that were inflicted on each of us individually and collectively from mass incarceration. And so we've all done our check ins, and one of the things in my book, Five Steps to Personal Peace Living Authentically You, that I talk about is having to make a decision or stating, determining what your position is in any situation. Right? There are certain things. The first thing you got to do is you got to know you. And we talked about that a lot here, is to know you. And the reason that I focus so heavily in all of my writing and in all of my books and workbooks and exercises that I create and workshops is because what I have found is once I mastered me, the rest of the world was easy. It doesn't get, and it was more palatable. I'll say it that way. It's not that I don't have problems. It's not that, challenges don't come. But what I find is that I'm still at peace no matter what the outcome is. I don't always get my way. That's not going to happen. I don't always get things that I want. That I can't say that that's always going to happen. But what I do know is that when I lay my head down at night, I'm at peace. And that is priceless.
Say it again.
That is priceless.
And that's true.
Because no matter what, if I'm at peace, the world can spin and act as crazy as it wants to
Hold
over
on for a
there.
moment. Tired of typical candy crushing games? Try
Okay, Miss
Clockmaker.
Cheryl, that's
Free
you.
offline game.
Okay.
So, oh, somebody left the phone, and so we're in my training center. I would answer it and let them know they left it here.
Tell them it's still here.
Sorry about that, you guys. But in any event, there are certain things that are important in being able to determine what your position is in any given situation. Again, first you have to know who you are. Second, you have to be, we've talked about this recently, to being principle centered, so that my decisions, my behaviors and things are not based on a particular person, right? They're not based on whether or not I think Diane is going to like my decision. They're based on principles of whatever the principle is at that time, or the principle that I'm trying to focus on. If I have to make a decision, for example, for the organization, then I have to understand what parameters I'm operating in under for the organization, what's in the best interest of the organization. So it's important to know yourself, know who you're making a decision for. But then there's some other things you need to know. Do you have enough information to make a decision or take a position? Do you have all the information?
Not if you're qualified. That's totally different.
Right? So you got to know if you have all the information. The other thing is, and this is what I think what I wanted to talk about, is how our feelings at a particular time play into what we're doing and and the decisions and the positions that we take. And part of that is because a lot of times, I know I had it highlighted in another copy of this book, but a lot of times we do things or make decisions or take a position based on a feeling. But a feeling is just a feeling. What we got to ask ourselves is why am I feeling what I'm feeling? And is that really what's going on, or is that a result of my past trauma or things that have happened to me in my past? So if I've used example all the time, we talk about all the time here, me and my phone call situation, right? Don't tell me you're gonna call me, especially if you're a man and we trying to hook up, whatever. Don't tell me you're gonna call and don't call me. Well, why did that bother me so much? At first I thought it just made me mad. Then I realized, no, it's not mad. Your feelings are hurt. Okay, well, why are your feelings hurt? Well, because at the end of the day, when I got down to the root of it, it was because it made me feel, and this is not that they were trying to, but it made me feel like they thought I wasn't good enough for them to live up to their word. Now, that was my own insecurities. That had nothing to do with the person who it was or what they were doing. It had nothing to do with that. So when I feel that feeling coming, and there's a feeling that we get when that old feeling when one of our insecurities or our past trauma is triggered. There's a feeling. Some of us get it in different parts of the body. For me, it's my stomach. My stomach does weird things when I get this kind of anxiety that I feel. So when that feeling comes, I have to ask myself, and I know what it is. I have to ask myself, is this really something going on, or are you projecting from your past, Noreen? Are you about to bleed on somebody that didn't cut you?
For nothing.
For nothing. Only to act, but I gotta ask myself, is it about my feelings? Am I again projecting my own trauma onto somebody else? Onto this particular situation, or do I need to remove those feelings, put them to the side, and then deal with what is it? And one of the ways to do that is to deal with what is it that's really at play here. So if it's a business situation, the example I use in the book is where we had a contract with a group, and it was just before the pandemic. The pandemic was just getting ready to hit, and I knew it was coming because I had been watching the news, and I had been watching international news, and I'm like, they shut down Italy, the whole country. That I was like, wait, this is some other stuff. What? Not the schools in Italy. They shut down the country. Like like to me, I was like, that's coming this way. So these people were people who worked in the street. They worked with the businesses on Central Avenue, and it was like they're out and about. Are they're not going to be able to do the work that they're doing if they shut down the country. So the question was, do I terminate them and let them go apply for unemployment early in a hurry? Or because we have the money in the account anyway, do we just continue to pay them during the time that they're off? So I had to give the board, I had to say to them, listen, because what would happen is we would pay them and they would reimburse me. Well, I knew that I wasn't going to have no money to be paying them, because I didn't know how long it would last. And I also felt like if I'm going to send them to unemployment, I need to send them now before the rush, because it's coming, right? So what I did is I gave them, but I very carefully, I thought about what I knew what the organization could and couldn't do, what we couldn't afford. So I can't carry them through however long this goes. I knew that I needed to give them the heads up ahead of time. I gave them a deadline by which that they needed to respond to me. And if they didn't respond, I was going to go ahead and lay them off and let them go to unemployment. Why? Because it was in the best interest of the people. It was in the best interest of the organization financially. And no matter how I felt about whatever it was, my feelings weren't really relevant. This was a business decision, but it was going to affect other people in their lives and their families. So I followed the steps. I knew the position. I knew the entity for which I was making decision. That was the organization. I knew what it could do and couldn't do. So that means where I say know yourself. Well, I had to know the business entity that I was working on behalf of. Okay, so now I knew them. I knew what they could do, what they couldn't do. And then I said, okay, this is the position you got to give you to this time. If you don't decide, then I'm going to do this. So I've determined a position. I verbalized it to the people that would be affected and the people that needed to make the decision. And then once I verbalized it, I waited for them to do what they were going to do. And thankfully, they decided they were going to continue to pay the people through the pandemic because we still had money, at least for the year. We had enough money to pay them for a year from that point, because that's when the contract ended. So they were going to pay them. They would stay on. We would modify how they did their work. They do a lot of phone work or whatever. And they made that. And so then I could go ahead and keep the people. But again, I had to know, it had to be the principles. This is not about whether I like this particular employee or that employee. No, this was a business decision, right? So I had to figure out who who was who and how did I make sure that everybody was taken care of? But it wasn't emotional. And it didn't matter who felt like it should be different. I knew what our organization could do. And I knew what we couldn't do. So what you got to first understand is, where are you coming from? What is the position? And I say very, very strongly that we got to be principle centered. We got to center ourselves on the principle. What are the principles? It be things like, I say this all the time: right is right and wrong is wrong. Don't matter who it is. That's just a principle I live by. Okay. Like, there shouldn't be disrespect. There's certain principles from a personal standpoint that I operate under. If I think for 5 seconds that a person is going to disturb my peace, I cut them off.
Okay.
I cut them off. I just can't.
All right,
do it.
very good.
So when again, there are certain principles. If we operate from a standpoint that we allow people or things to be what makes us happy and keeps us level and all that, if our happiness, our contentment, our peace is tied to other people or things, we will find that we are upset a lot, because things and people change. We can't control other people. We can't control how they're going to feel this particular day. We can't control what they're going to do. The only thing we can control is our response to it. Right? Exactly. I'm lucky if I get to control me, right? That's the bottom line. If I get to control me today, if I stay in total control of Noreen all day, it was a good day. In my Ice Cube voice, right? It was a good day. Because that
gangster.
No, I'm not. Not a gangster. I'm just not. Yeah, see, bang, bang, boogity, bang. Anyway, we're not doing concerts neither. We're not doing concerts right now. We're not. But though, like I say, but if I can control me today, I was in total control of me all day. Oh, that was a good day. Put that one in the win column, right? Because there are things that have a tendency that might set me off, right? And I know, and so I try to stay away from those things that have a high probability of making me go bang. But that's because I know me. See, I took the time to know me first.
And people.
And yeah, and then I can understand other people once I understand me and how they relate to me, and whether or not I should even care what you do or say. Like the online people have a tendency to want to start name calling. If you say something that they can't refute or whatever, then they start name calling. Right? Well, that don't bother me. I don't care. Do you realize that I don't know you? I may never see you in life, ever. What do I care about you calling me a name or calling me fat or?
I know that, and thank you.
I just don't care.
That's stuff for me to eat. I'm just saying.
Okay. What you say? You gonna send me a plate?
Send me something.
Right.
I worked hard on it.
Okay. Listen, I worked to look this sexy. You know what I'm saying? Don't play with me. Look. So I feel like I don't have to care about what you say. Just because you say it doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true. Right. So we have to start asking ourselves, what, and let me ask everybody a question. Anybody have a particular process that you use to make decisions, big decisions for yourself? Does anybody ever actually have a process, or do you just, how do you do it? And I know you guys got to think about that for a second, but I weigh the pros and cons.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, is it a yes or a no? You already know what it is.
Well, I'm going to weigh the pros and cons. I'm going to, it depends on what it is, but I am a list writer. So I will write a list, and I will look to see, where my benefits are, where my derogatories are, wins, losses, the last huge project I did was redo my backyard. And, you know, if anyone knows me, I have dug that dirt. I have laid chess patterns. I have laid checkerboard patterns. I have sand, rocks and everything. And what I came to the realization was that I did not have the proper skills to create the oasis that my mind wanted.
Yeah.
And I decided to hand it over to professionals. The
What-
price tag was scary. It was ginormous. But with all the things that I have done, I think it has been more of a joy that I accomplished that versus it's absolutely what I wanted. And I'm now in a place of more of what I want. And I would have never been able to redo my backyard the way that it is now. But the price tag on it was huge. You know, I spent $1.
Right.
That was a very hard decision for me because at the time that I did it, I was actually debt free. So I had to list out, okay, I had to list out that, what was I going to have to pay? How far in the future was I going to have to pay? Because it is a very hard task to own a home, pay for that home, pay it off, and then incur more debt.
Right.
So it was a lot. What?
I was gonna say your backyard's nice anyway. I enjoy it. Thank you.
And we greatly appreciate her spending the money.
And I surely do.
We show,
I surely do.
it's true.
And that is true.
That is
Yes,
true.
it is.
We all
enjoy
collectively
that.
are so
I do.
grateful
Mhm.
that you spent the money
I
that you
do.
did.
If anybody would
Make
like
it-
to see a video, I have a video of the backyard. I'm just
Yeah, we
I enjoy
let it
it.
backyard. Miss Shirley
Yes.
had your hand up, but
I
then you
do.
disappeared.
Mhm.
Where'd you go?
I enjoy it. It's what you
But the labor, the emotional labor that I went through to do that,
Right,
to finally say, because I said,
right.
okay, okay,
Okay, going back and forth. Am I gonna do it? Am I gonna, yeah.
okay. All right, all
Okay,
right,
I'm
all
doing it.
right.
Yes, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you gotta talk to yourself like that. You gotta treat yourself like that. Like, yeah.
Dogs.
Cheryl, Miss Cheryl,
Laugh with her bun.
she's back.
Okay, she's.
She has to get off of mute, but she wanted to say something. She had her hand up earlier.
Well, it wasn't about, it was about, you made the part about what decisions or something. And I just wanted to talk about how the thing about people talking about us, we're not kids, right? So once you know who you are and what you are in your life, you can always like let that stuff slide off your back, right? And sometimes the people say things to hurt you, but if you know that it's not true, why do you even respond to it, right? But I tell Roberta all the time, I think about a person that says things to me. Like, why are they saying it? And what about their life? And my life is my life, right? So
Consider the
we
source,
had
yes.
and you know how much stuff I have in my car. So one of the girls said one time, that's so unprofessional. You have little dolls stuck on your dashboard, so I could care less what you say about my car, right? And that's the thing. And I look at people's circumstances, and sometimes they're probably not happy with themselves or where they are in life, and they say stuff, so I could care less what people say about me. Thank
It's
you.
just not relevant. It's just not, and it's certainly not relevant to any decision that you're gonna make that's going to affect your life. How they feel about you or how they feel about you making a decision just isn't important.
Does Chester want to talk?
Oh, go ahead, Chester.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
I think, like Cheryl said, we don't really care, but we have to have the tools to be able to deal with stuff like that because we're all emotional and we all have felt some kind of way when somebody says something to us. And I think it goes back to what you said. We have to know ourselves and learn to stay working on ourselves to keep the security within who we are. So we can either ignore it or respond to it. You know, when you respond to it, that means it's affecting you emotionally. It's making you feel some type of way. You know, and
Absolutely.
it's like me. I still deal with stuff. You know, it's a work in progress. So I have to always continue to be mindful of that and keep, you know, and be secure in who I am. You know, because I come from a long road. You know, getting out of prison, that shit ain't no joke. Trust me.
None.
So I can kind of care less what people say, but I continue to work on myself so I don't allow it to affect me. So, you know,
And I appreciate that because that, you know, that's when you said it the first time, it really resonates with me that the self-work is an ongoing job.
yeah,
It's not like I got me figured out today and, you know, and now that's done. Okay, we can go. No, it is a work in progress all the time. And why? Because circumstances change.
Yep.
And because our circumstances change, if nothing else, we get older. And the things I like today, and I might want to deal with today, I may not feel that way tomorrow. And so I have to be very careful and understand that I have to keep checking in with me as to who I am, what's important to me, because that may shift over time, right? For example, when you got little kids, right, your priorities are different
Way
than when you
different.
got grown-up kids.
Yeah, like mine's kitchen closed, kitchen clean.
Yeah, and because they're grown, that's their problem.
my-
If they didn't
that's
eat,
not how that
yeah,
works.
But when they were little,
I had to.
you
Kitchen
made sure
open,
that they
kitchen
ate
dirty.
every day.
Kitchen open, kitchen was dirty.
Always
Okay.
open, always dirty, especially with little boys.
Kitchen open,
They
kitchen
eat.
dirty.
I do think a couple of things that I try to think about are
I just want to put it on that side.
what am I trying to accomplish?
Mhm.
So I do think, you know,
Yes.
I agree with it, you know, everything you listed in terms of having the list. I'm a big list person as well too.
Me too.
But I start with what am I trying to accomplish? And then that helps drive clarity in terms of when I do the pros and cons, is it getting me closer to what I'm trying to accomplish versus further away? Additionally, as I think about, even though we say we shouldn't care about what other people think about, I do take pause if it's certain people.
Yeah.
So like I do have an inner circle of people that I think are really wise and that are coming from a position that they actually care.
Mhm.
And so if I can evaluate that you are a person who has a valid point, you actually care about me, you're trying to help me, then I do think I take those thoughts and that perspective in a different way than if somebody else said, hey, if somebody walked up and said, hey, you're fucking up, you just got out of prison, but I'll be like, all right, who are you? Like, but if somebody that I care about says that, I'll actually sit down and say, okay, tell me, what brought that up? What makes you say that to me? Or, you know, help me understand. So I do think the context of the person who's communicating to you is really important.
Right.
And so, you know, not saying you should care about everybody who's around you, but I do think there are a few people that if you know they come from a position of love and they have the thought to try to help you, then you should really take the time to listen to
And can I reframe that
them. Yep, sure.
for me?
All that noise made me forget what I was going to say.
They're not together.
I 100%, 110% agree with you. For me, my thought process is, what am I trying to accomplish in any respects? And what role do you play in that? If you here to pass judgment, I don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
If you are part of that process,
Mhm.
that inner circle, that person whose opinion I respect,
Mhm.
then you have added value for me. But that person with the judgment, the person that is in that glass house throwing those stones, it does not matter to me. And so that is an evolution that I have come to, but it's still something that is a work in progress, because we all have to work on ourselves daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, on all of those things, and all of that changes. I've often talked about our village, right? I don't know how old you are. I'm 59. My village at 29 looks different than my village at 59, because your
Absolutely.
village keeps moving, and those whose opinions and things that I value over that 30-year span has changed.
Right.
You know, and I think that you're absolutely right. My reframing is what it is that I'm trying to do. And it doesn't even have to be me working on the backyard. It could be me working on a project. It could be me trying to declutter that closet or what have you. But it is whatever it is that I'm doing and what value you bring is where you lay presence in my life.
One of the things that somebody just said, and I can't remember who it was, but it reminds me that in the life skills course from PACE, it talked about criticism. And talked about criticism. And one of the things is to give thought to, I think it was Ms. Cheryl, who are you or who is giving the criticism?
Exactly.
Like, what's their motivation for saying what they're saying? Is there a benefit to them?
What is it rooted in?
Right. What is it rooted in? Is there a benefit to them to have you believe something that's not true, to have you doubt yourself? Or is it a benefit to them to have you succeed and flourish?
Ding, ding, ding.
Right? Because oftentimes people criticize,
All the time.
You know,
often, all the time.
right? But they criticize because they want you not to be successful.
They criticize because of the place that they're in. Right.
Exactly. And that where they are in their lives. And that's not relevant to me.
No.
Where you are and how you feel about you is not relevant when I need to make a decision for me.
For myself.
Right? Because whose feelings matter, Di?
Mine.
My feelings matter
And they do.
in my life.
And that's true.
And that's true.
That
But
is
the
true.
one last thing I was just gonna say, and this is something I try to work with my daughters on, is every time somebody communicates with you, try to think to yourself, read between the lines. So what are they trying to what are they trying to communicate to you, even whether you get it straight up? Are they trying to tear you down? Are they trying to build you up? Are they trying to steer you in the right path? Are they trying to steer you in the wrong path? Try to read in between the lines. So anytime someone communicates to me, I think to myself, like, okay, are they trying to develop a relationship with me? Are they not trying to develop a relationship with me? Are they trying to put me in a position of weakness? Are they trying to help me? Are they trying to learn from me? Are they trying to teach me? But how
Are they trying to use me?
Or are they trying to use me? But think about, like, but are they trying to hustle me? You know, but if you try to read in between the lines anytime I communicate to anyone, and that's the gift that I try to share with my girls. Just anytime some little boy says, "Oh, this," or you're fat, or you're cute, or whatever it is, figure out, read in between what they're trying to.
Because a lot of times it's not just what they say. Sometimes it's more about what they didn't say, right? That will give you the most insight into what their motivation is. And I think, Tony, to your point, your village is important. And like you said, that circle of people that you have that tends to be small for most of us, right? That inner circle of people that it matters what they think and how they're affected. And there will be times where, unfortunately, I can say that no matter who they are, whatever, there are times that you will have to make a decision that's not popular for everybody. Like, it doesn't matter how much you care, whatever. It's just, everybody's just not going to be happy with every single decision that you make. And you got to be okay with the fact that they're not okay with that decision. But that is why when you know yourself, right, and you follow those steps, right, the 5 steps, that's why you're going to be at peace. Everybody's not going to be happy. But at the end of the day, you will be at peace about what you decided. And that's why it's so important. Again, in this book, the thing is that the hardest part is to know who you are and to know what you stand for. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And you can also always be swayed in any direction. You know, there are some people in politics that go with whoever's on top. Wait a minute, who was that was talking about, it was a comedian, and they were talking about, when I'm in a fight, I'm on the side of whoever's winning at the time. Oh my gosh. It was just funny because it's like whoever's winning, that's whose side I'm on. right? That's so. I think she's having a moment.
No, I was gonna say, thank you. Take this kind of, but, what I was gonna say is, don't be afraid to grow.
Mm,
Please don't be afraid to grow.
Don't be afraid of the way.
I'm gonna buy the microphone, I promise. Because if you're not afraid to grow, things are gonna change no matter what. You can't stop that. But you can't be afraid to do it either. So everybody's opinion is really not gonna matter no way. But you cannot be afraid to grow.
and change is the one thing that's
Because
constant.
what I do know, everybody can't go.
Oh, that's another thing.
I do think there was one time, when I guess, at the county jail that I was at, it's also to know when it's okay not to care. So like when I first got locked up, I wasn't used to a terminology called bidding. And
Right.
bidding is just where like a person is telling a story, but they're embellishing, they're lying, but they're making themselves seem much grander than they actually are.
Okay.
And I was so used to people being honest, like being like, all right, if you had cars, you had money, you had whatever,
Then you had.
just be real about it. But like if you say you had a certain type of car that didn't exist when you were free, then you straight lying. So like, and so I almost got into it with a guy because I'm like, bro, why you lying? And he was trying to flex on me, and I'm like, and my actual cellie pulled me aside and said, yo, there's this thing that when you locked up, it's just called bidding. They're straight up lying. You let it go. You don't need to call it out. It's embellishing. It's just straight up lying. But I do think it gave me context to say you don't have to care about everything.
Right.
Why do you give a shit? Like move on. Like if my goal is to navigate this process and get out of this place safely,
Then you can't afford to care for it. In fact, it will be detrimental to you to care about everything that's going on that's none of your damn business. Right?
Or call the people out.
Right, because if they're lying, what difference does it make to you? Because at the end of the day, your goal is to get the heck out of here. Your job, your issue is to get out of here. Your issue is not that is going to pull you away. You talked about when you talked about is it going to take me closer to or further away from where I'm going? That has the potential to take you further, which means that's just something you just can't engage in. Because ultimately, like you say, what difference does it make? He in here lying. You ain't the only one know he lying. Because like you said, that car wasn't even out when he just told us he was locked up in 1985.
He know he lying.
But I understood that a long time ago, that in prison, people can be whoever they want because you don't know them. That's their own little community. So they gonna tell you worth, or you don't be knowing people. Then you see them out here, they a big bad wolf in jail, and then you see them out here, they have Figueroa.
Over there, Papa Puff.
See,
Papa Puff.
see, cream puffs, huh? Soft as Dr. Cotton. But you know what? I do know people who say that they had to put on, that they had to do certain things. I know one guy told me that he had to put on a particular image in prison. And I think some of that was just him anyway, but I think he had to be a particular way to function in prison. Go ahead, Miss Cheryl.
For like what Roberta was saying, that's what I was thinking when he was saying that. I was thinking like the girls in prison, we don't even care if the girls lie. Because how many girls owned beauty salons, right? We don't really care, but the men, that's really something that if you check somebody for saying they're lying, not in the feds. I don't know, Roberta might be able to say they probably didn't care either in the state. But the females, that's really something, the difference that what they reflect on in there and stuff. Because them girls, we don't care if they lie. You just like Roberta said, you come to prison, you could be whoever you want to be because don't nobody know. So, but we not getting ready to check somebody and not to, like men, it's a lot of danger with men. With the women, it's not really that much danger with us, so.
Yeah, Roberta said unless you're in a dope game. And I'm sure that's true of any prison. Once you get involved in dope, Pike used to say multiple times, how did he put it? Drugs and sissies. Dealing with either one of the, right, which is a relationship, right?
Throw some hot water on their bras.
Right. Okay. Hey, so
I can't hear. Is it a little
I was
box
saying-
around?
Oh, well, no, yeah, but so, and I'll make sure she gets the box, but, it's those two things Pike said could cause you when you're dealing with drugs, because that's always about money, right? Which was one of the biggest things about gang wars. Once they introduced crack, it became about money. It wasn't even about territory and no, this was meaning colors. It was more about money in this neighborhood. Who's gonna make the money off of the drugs in the neighborhood? Right. It was all green. It was all one color. But then, so in prison, women, and then Roberta was saying relationships, like when Pike was saying dealing with, with, as he called it, sissies, when you talk about relationships, and that is something that definitely will cause friction, right? You think about even in the women's prison, relationships and somebody thinking you messing with their girl. I mean, all of those things still apply. Right, they still go on and they still apply.
And females be abusive. The ones that think they boys and stuff, they think they be abusive.
That's why I want to send them
their mindset. I feel like they think that a man is supposed to be abusive to a woman, so that's what occurs. That's
a lot of domestic violence in that. Yeah. So, again, the concept of deciding who we are, what we know, and what we need to know in order to make decisions. Yeah, and what are we trying to accomplish at the end of the day? What is the goal? That is going to tell you what the principles that are in play, right? I can think they will be on the same level. What am I trying to accomplish? You can almost, in this context, make them interchangeable, right? What am I trying to accomplish? And what's the principle? I call it the principle at play. And like when I use the example with the contract, right? The issue was I was trying to accomplish making sure that these people that work for us had the opportunity to be okay financially because something was, and that was ultimately the biggest issue. So it cleared, it didn't matter who the people that had to vote, how I felt about them, whether they liked me, none of that was relevant. At that point, that was the thing that needed to be handled. How are these people going to be treated financially? How are they going to survive? And if I'm going to lay them off, then I need to do it now so that they are in the queue before all these other people that I'm sure are coming.
Yeah, and I like what you said in terms of saying having as much information as you can, because that can help inform the decision you need to make.
It should.
In your example of, if your goal is to make sure that people's families are taken care of to the best of your ability, and your resources are limited, then you have to make a decision. Okay, if the water runs out here, you can get it from someplace else, but if you get it too late, or you're in the back of the line, you may not get it ever at all. So you were trying to make a preemptive decision, understanding where you were going in the future. So it makes perfect sense. If you have as much information to help inform what you're trying to accomplish.
And saying that, that is one of the things when it comes to, it may seem like a shift, but it's not really, affairs of the heart. Affairs of the heart, what we tend to do is we don't want to ask questions. So we don't know. So instead of asking the questions, we begin to assume.
Don't do that. Don't look at me.
I
asked.
So thank you, Ms. Tony, for asking. Thank you. So the bottom line is, like, even from a spiritual standpoint, me and my girlfriend, we had this thing like, you know what? We trust our Creator with everything, except when it came to the heart. Right? We thought He could handle anything. I'm talking, let me to this extent. She ride the Pasadena freeway. Her car flips off the freeway. She just remembers the car shaking, and then she woke up and she was on the other side of the freeway. The car was in the park, upside down on its hood. She doesn't remember any of that. The only thing that happened, she broke her fingernail, but she had just got her nails done. So she was mad about that, and she got to run in her pantyhose. So we're like, He got, you know what I'm saying? He got us. But then when it comes to affairs of the heart, when it comes to a man, then we think we're supposed to do everything. And we did, and we got it. and we don't have it. But this is the shit. At the end of the day, I'll use another example. But let me finish that sentence. Is that we thought he could handle everything, but we really didn't have a lot of confidence that he was going to handle that in our lives. I don't know why it was. But then there are certain circumstances. I know another lady who, a guy was famous, and she would let him come in town, and he would call her and say, "Yeah, I just touched down," or whatever. And she would leave her job for the day, go buy groceries, cook for him, and all this kind of stuff. But she didn't know where he lived. She didn't know whether he was married. She didn't know, and it's like, but she didn't ask for the answers. Yeah. And she felt like she even said that she didn't want to get too personal, but you having sex with him. What is any more personal than having sex?
What is any more personal?
I can't think of anything.
That's giving your whole self.
And letting him leave some stuff behind.
There's some other stuff. What's some other stuff?
What is more personal than that?
The other stuff. You don't know other stuff.
And
Maybe he left it in the back.
Huh?
Maybe he left it in the back.
I'm so glad. I hope they didn't pick that.
No, it didn't, because you can't hear, because they don't have that little box.
Okay, I'm just glad it didn't pick up what Tony just said. We didn't even need that in the record. You know how they act, Miss Cheryl. So you know, whatever that was, if I'm saying we didn't need it, we didn't miss it. But at the end of the day, how is it that we believe that we should give somebody the most precious thing we have, and that is too personal to ask them where they live and are they married? I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Because first of all, we're not taught to believe in ourselves like that until we're older. You learn that because at first, if you have a bad relationship with your father, you out there. You out there looking for a daddy.
Yeah.
You're looking for a father, somebody to love you like your father should have. So you just do what you do.
Well, the cold part about that is though, and this is where I say this is the flaw in the theory, because I ain't fucking my daddy. So what I need
for
to do,
a father figure.
I'm just saying,
a strong man in your life.
Even with that, you shouldn't be looking for the same things in a mate as you're looking for in a father figure. And I say that because I say that to men too. You are not trying to date someone who treats you like their mother. That is not the role of the woman in your life. Don't even expect her to love you like your mama, because your mama is going to love you in a way that your woman is not supposed to. So if you're looking for her in the woman that you're with, you're looking for the wrong thing. And I say the same is true for women. Don't be looking for somebody to take care of you, love you like your daddy. Ain't nobody gonna love me like my daddy loved me.
Well, how would you?
Noreen,
Yes,
Noreen.
yes.
I think what Cheryl was. I don't know, but I think sometimes when you don't have a love from a father or a mother, you tend to find love from from men that you because you want to feel loved by somebody. Not, not be you want the love of your father. No, I couldn't imagine picturing my father. But I think it's the fact that you just need that caring nature from a man, because you just want to feel love because you haven't felt that love before. So you keep looking and you keep looking, and basically you really never find it if you keep picking the wrong man.
Let me tell you what's so interesting, because you're absolutely right in everything. And let me tell you what's interesting to me, though, is that it is a fact that when people don't have the love of their mother or their father, right, that they tend to, I've seen it too many times, they tend to look for older men and women to date because they're trying to get that feeling or that protectionary love. But the cold part about it is they never find it, because that's not how the man or woman that you're supposed to date is supposed to treat you. So you look and you got an unrealistic expectation of what you want. And so the two things are true simultaneously, right? You're definitely going to be looking for, if your father wasn't around and you never had that, you're going to be looking for that feeling of like that protection that you would expect from a father. And it's crazy because it's so subconscious. Is nobody sits around and goes, I want an older man to love me because my daddy wasn't there. Nobody does it. Nobody does it. But it's what's going on when you peel back the onion and you get to the root of it. The challenge again is you never get it satisfied because the person that you're dating is never going to love you the way that a parent would. They're two different kinds of love. It's like, listen, I tell my son all the time, I love my grandkids better than I loved you. I like them more than I like you.
I mean, even sometimes women take abuse as love because they feel like, well, he must really love me. I had to learn that when from being young. He wouldn't hit me if he didn't love me. He wouldn't get angry with me about talking to another man if he didn't love me and hit me. So I'm thinking he's showing me love by abusing me.
Right.
But I didn't see it as abuse. I saw it as he must really love me.
And some of that comes from that parochial or parental kind of thing, right? Where when my mother loved me, she spanked me to make sure that I was learning things the right way, right? So we kind of mix and match them.
I do think so. My dad killed my mom, so I didn't, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having characteristics that are similar to your mother or your father. So I've always been attracted to women that are more nurturing or that are more artistic, like my mother. I don't want her to be my mother, but characteristics, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
But as long as you can separate or differentiate the two, I do think, going back to your story about your friend who didn't ask all the questions, who used to take off of work, I do think if she was actually being honest with herself in terms of what are you actually trying to accomplish, my gut would tell me more than likely she liked the thrill of being with a celebrity, or she was like a clout chaser and she didn't really want to know the answers to those questions.
Because then she would have been responsible for what she did after that.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. You're spot on.
And she couldn't shroud herself in innocence by saying, I was messing with this guy I didn't even know. And so she didn't want to feel like maybe being a hoe or whatever, or being the other woman. So I think, but I do think as long as you know what you're actually trying to accomplish, maybe, I think it helps drive clarity, because if she would call a spade, she would probably just say like, I've always been a big fan of this dude and I'm a clout chaser, or I'm a groupie, or, I want to have as much fun with this guy for as long as I could.
And the sad thing is
Plausible denial.
Yeah, plausible deniability, that I can act like I don't know.
Yeah.
So like you say, I can feign innocence. So I didn't ask the question.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because he came in town.
They say I don't know.
He came in town, he had a concert. She asked him in advance for tickets to the concert. He never bothered to respond to her or anything. And this crazy heifer went and bought tickets to the concert. First of all, anyway, she went to the concert. Yeah, he's still alive as we speak to this day. And I'm trying to figure out, but again, but you're absolutely right. What it is I'm not asking, because ultimately I don't want to be responsible for the answer or what I should be doing after I get the answer. Then I can't act like I didn't know, right now I can say, oh, I just didn't know. But because I am a clout chaser and I like the idea of being in proximity to somebody that's famous, I don't know why that is a big deal for some people, but it is. Neither here nor for me to judge. That's your issue, right? That's her issue. But the mere fact that and she did have daddy issues, and I understand all that. But how do you ever get to somebody being accountable, responsible in those things and making you feel safe if you never hold them responsible for nothing? You don't, right?
It just may be different for a guy, because I'm not gonna lie to you. there have been times in the past when I was young, a long time ago, where I didn't
always
ask
trying
a
to use
person
your damn
whether they were
vibes.
married or not, because I didn't really
You didn't care.
I didn't care. Like I just
That was their
she
problem.
fine. It was, hey,
Well,
you
listen,
got a right to make your own
But
decision.
that's still plausible denial.
Yeah,
Right.
but I knew what time it was,
Deniability.
you know,
right.
You know,
Well, you
we
knew what
can't
you was
see that.
there for. You knew
Yeah.
what, yeah, you knew what you was there for.
and I knew what she was there for. So,
And that was that.
and that was that.
Okay.
We went on our merry way.
Okay.
That was back when I was a bad.
Okay. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were just young.
But it's
Listen.
it's still the same thing. It's the intent,
Right. Because I get you, right? Because you know, I
But I'm going home with my stuff. I'm not biting my that.
oh my God. Oh my God. So I get it. But I it's the same. It's just different characters. She again, everything that Noreen is saying, it revolves to everything that you're saying. This person, why I'm like, you know, why would you question, like, are you can't be that dumb, you know? And I don't know what kind of conversation you had with that woman, but me, you know, I would be like, you can't be that dumb. But I was part of the Liberation Army, right? Army.
Oh.
So, but there was intentional plausible deniability or denial.
I don't understand.
The
Hush.
women's lib.
Yeah.
We're just
So
Equal opportunity.
So,
in other words,
but I-
that don't get it.
but I was
equal
never,
opportunity
but I
of-
wasn't
of-
hurt.
Okay,
You
now
know what I'm
tell
saying?
me.
I wasn't hurt. Because that's why I asked the question about, she bought tickets to the concert. Well, shit, is he still alive? Because I'm thinking she bought tickets to the concert to go kill him.
Well,
But at the same time, I would have never been in a position to kill him because I wouldn't have even been, it wouldn't have even been a thought. Like there's this little thing that's going on here. I like it. There's this fantasy land or what. And I'm not even I don't even care who you are. I don't care because if I cut you, you're gonna bleed like I bleed. So I don't care who you are. But this is what I mean when I talk about people creating situations and then claiming to be victims when you are the person who created the victimhood.
Don't do it.
I can't stand it. Yeah. I can't
It's irritating
stand
as hell.
it. It's irritating as hell.
It is. And see, it's one thing when you go into a situation consciously, but I know that you're consciously going into this and this is just fun. Right? That's one thing.
And that's okay.
And that's okay, especially as consenting adults.
Yes, okay.
Right? Two adults can consent to whatever they want to consent to. The issue becomes when you're delusional and you're deluding yourself into saying, well, I'm just doing this for fun, but really in your heart of hearts, you know you want more, right? I'm really a clout chaser and I really want to be his woman, but I'm too scared to ask because then that means I have to cut him off and tell him no and that he can't have it like that. But this is the cold part. For the woman on the side, for the side piece, let me just say this to you. If you, and I'm gonna say it really slow, if you ever think that he's going to leave the woman he's with, he's not. And if he leaves her, the likelihood that he's coming to you is slim to none.
And when he comes, you ain't gonna want him.
No, you're not gonna want him because you don't,
When he
because all you have,
trust him.
well, you're not gonna trust him, and at the end of the day, is that man, every time you allow him in your presence and because listen, the side piece, she gonna be made up, she gonna be showered and smelling good, she gonna turn all the tricks, she got her lingerie on, all of that, right? She making it an event for him, right? Well, guess what? When you do that, it only relieves the pressure that he's feeling in the other place, and it allows him to stay at home longer. It allows him to stay there much longer So you're not helping the situation, you're not helping yourself. And again, the question becomes, what are you looking for? Right? What's your goal? Because ultimately, the cold part is, if you want a man that, if this man say, I want to be with you, I don't want to be with her, well, leave her and then come talk to me when you're ready. When that's done, that's the appropriate response.
Correct.
Talk to me after that's done. You don't need to be engaged with me while you're getting away from her. And I don't need to be your motivation.
But being a side, but just stepping in that road anyway, it's not gonna last, because everything always look good when it belongs to someone else.
On the other side, because you don't know what it really is.
That's what I'm saying. But when you get over there for real, and it's all about you, you're not gonna want to be there no more.
And
it's okay.
A friend of mine, we actually coached our kids team, T-ball team together.
It's cool.
And he was telling me about how his wife was telling him, well, whoever you cheating with, all she has to do is be pretty when you get there. I got your kids over here.
Hello.
They got to go to practice. They got to go to school. Somebody need to go get the milk.
Mhm.
The bills got to be paid. All of that stuff makes me less attractive to you. But guess what? If you marry her, she gonna have to do all them things too.
Hello.
And you gonna be less attracted to her, just like you less attracted to me. Because the mundane is the mundane.
That's what it is.
Right? Daily life is daily life. It is what it is. And so if I only have to do this for one day a week, right? I only gotta make it look good one day a week. He gotta wake up to her every day. So at the end of the day, what we're doing, the side piece, I just need you to hear me. Every time you see him, you make it easier for him to stay where he is.
Him and her.
Him and her. Yes, sir. You right. You right, because it goes in both
Can I say
directions.
something?
Go ahead.
I think it's like that because the side piece, he don't have to be obligated to her. He just have to, she just got to entertain him for them times. So, and it's so convenient like that. Men that cheat, it's so convenient like that.
We always talk about here the convenience factor, right?
Yeah.
And that when men cheat, it is for convenience. It is normally for convenience. And the side piece makes it very convenient. You can come and hit it and leave when you want, whatever. You know, like you said, I'm not obligated to her. I don't owe her. I don't have no responsibility toward her, and her to him.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the thing. Like,
plenty of women that will be like, all right, Tuesdays at 1.
oh, absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, Tuesdays at 1. That's all I want is Tuesdays at 1. I don't want nothing else.
See you next week. Don't text me.
Dad.
See you next week.
He said, Dad.
Dad, don't text me
Hey, you know what
on
else?
Wednesday morning. Talking about you was thinking about me. That would be a you issue.
Talk to you about it Tuesday.
But,
How about that?
hey, you know what?
What?
You know what else too? On both parts of the women, they both is lacking something. They both have low self-esteem because number one, the one that he's with, the obligated to, she shouldn't have tolerated it anyway. So she has a little probably insecurity or low self-esteem. That's why it's going like that. And they make it easy for the men to do that.
Well, that's if she knows. That's if she knows. And then also, if she knows and she may have decided to stay because she got kids or because, or she just want to stay. She just don't want to give him up. She just want him that much. But whatever it is, typically people do that because it's convenient. And I would say because the other people let them, right? I have had guys tell me how, they're unhappy in their marriages and whatever. And I'm like, oh, get the violin. You know what I'm saying? I feel for you, but that don't have nothing to do with me.
That's not my problem.
I think you're right in terms of there's always something missing. And so I've had other women say, oh, I know what he's doing. He thinks he's slick. And so if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it. Or other people say he doesn't see me anymore. And so it is more of a, I want to feel alive again. I want to feel like I'm who I am. Right? He doesn't see me that way.
Wow.
It can be deep, but it is still an absence of what you should be seeking within your own.
And I would say too, even a lot of times people think that the number one reason that people cheat is about sex. And I just disagree. I totally disagree. There's normally, like you said, there's something missing. I will say this to women everywhere that you can hear me when I say this. If the things that your husband does for you and you never show him appreciation, that is going to be the thing that will cause him to cheat faster than anything else. Because he's looking for that validation.
Every man does.
Right. And they need validation and they should have it, right? The concept that, well, why should I care? Why should I pat you on the back for something you should be doing? Hey, it don't matter. Right. When you turn in that trick or something, you want him to say, ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Right. You want the
I'm
reward.
I'm not coming back. There's
Right,
a lot of stuff
right.
going on.
Right. What happened?
That's all I know. A lot of stuff going on today.
So I'm just saying, we all need that validation at some point. And at the end of the day, when people cheat, I think a lot of it has to do with not having that sense of validation in their own relationship. But remember this: when you opt for convenience, you're giving up something. The convenient woman will never cause the man to become the best version of himself, because she's not requiring anything of him, and vice versa, right? So we need to expect the best of ourselves and of other people that we're in relationship with, because it matters. It matters. And listen, I will tell you in no uncertain terms, I have certainly through the course of my life chosen to do something for a moment. And I don't regret any of those moments. None of them.
It taught me something.
None of them. But I was consciously choosing those. And I knew not to expect anything after that. So it's where you're in denial, Tony, that makes a difference, right? When when you deny yourself and you don't want to know the answer because you don't want to have to answer or be responsible. You don't want, right? You don't want to ask the question because you don't want to be responsible. So
For what lies after that.
right, for what comes next. And so I think it's really important for us to remember that whatever decisions we make, we're responsible for that. The only thing we can control is us and our response to things, and how valid and how important it is. Again, to focus on what am I trying to accomplish? There have been times in my life where I knew I didn't want to be in a relationship. I didn't want to be bothered. There have been times since my mother passed that I actually thought I wanted to be married. And I have the right to change that whenever I feel like it. But I have to know what I want and where I am now, so that if I meet somebody and they're not on that page, I don't waste their time or mine. Right? Most of all mine. But I don't think it's right to waste somebody else's time either. Absolutely. Right? So if I know that you're not going to be what I want, let me let you go and let you go find something that you really want or something that's going to be good for you. So
There's
I'm
nothing that the wrong person can do but keep you from the right person.
Say that again.
Put it back. Say it one more time.
Because there's nothing that the wrong person can do for you but keep you from the right person.
It's called cock block.
They're blocking.
They blocking. They block. Okay, wait a minute. I done run the people off. I done run the people off. Before they go, y'all, can I have my people that's online? Can I have you guys give me your final thoughts? Anything on the topic? Let me know. Chester, save me, Chester.
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic topic. Very informative. And it was very insightful. And I enjoyed everybody's opinion. We all had some great stuff to spread. So yeah.
That's the thing that I love about our group, is that we really do learn one from another. I love it when people are always engaged and everything. And that's one of the reasons why I say, two of you guys have, when we do check in, if anybody got a topic they want to talk about, a situation that you're dealing with, let's chop it up. So thank you for that. Miss Beverly, any final comments from you tonight, sweetie?
No, it's just a learning. I just love listening to everybody and learning from everybody. It really helps me a lot. Just like tonight, I just really realized when Cheryl said what she said, I just realized, the conversation make you realize stuff you don't even think about. It who knows, 40 years later, you find the answers to something, or you realize something that happened and why it happened. So that's what I like about the group.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and I'm so glad you're here with us. Miss Vivian. Miss Viv. Sure, go ahead and check out for us.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah, you know I got a lot to say, but next time.
I love her. She ain't gonna remember next time.
Oh, I ain't gonna remember the next.
Oh no, we're gonna do the subject again. It's gonna be next time.
I remember neither.
Why? You know what? You can't never just follow the damn rules,
Oh,
can
that's
you,
not
girl?
true.
There's no
Ain't
rules
gonna be
in
able to
life.
do it, can you?
That's not what.
I don't live by rules.
Oh,
That's not
we
what
know.
you're-
Oh,
that's not what
we're
you're
clear.
good
We're
at.
all clear over here.
That's
No
not-
issue. We are
That's
okay.
good.
Carlos. Carlos. Oh wait, unmute, sweetie. Unmute. I can't hear you, Carlos. There you go.
I don't have none today, but I heard the conversation, everything. So just pretty nice, just
Awesome.
everything. Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah. Thank you very
Carlos.
much, but it's okay. So
Okay,
I don't
baby.
have none today. Okay.
Okay, dear. Appreciate the sub.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay, Miss Di.
Yes, I enjoyed our topic. I enjoyed our conversation. I really like hearing all of us give our opinions because we're all different individuals, and that's what makes the conversation good for me.
Wonderful.
Great conversation tonight. Always enjoyed. Always learned a lot.
Wonderful.
We turn my phone on?
No, she's trying to keep them in it. I'm like Cheryl. I think Cheryl wanna do this conversation online. I would rather do it too, but I can say that I had some very low self-esteem and I was once a sucker.
That's it.
I was a hoe.
You was a hoe and a sucker. A hoe and a sucker. Okay, there we
But
go.
that happened at different times.
They was at different times. One time she was a hoe and then she was a sucker. Okay, there we have it. Okay. Anything for you, my dear?
Now I'm gonna get you back.
Okay.
Tell me how I ain't raised no dummy.
I don't know how much on topic this is, but this hit me in the chest the other day. And it says, how many scars did we justify because we love the person holding the knife?
That's right.
There again. They need to know.
How many scars did we justify because we love the person holding the knife?
You know what? That's really scary. Oh, that cuts deep. That cut at a different level.
I started looking at my scars.
Okay, right. And so I will say to you all, I am so honored and grateful that you guys come here every week and that we can have these conversations. I love the conversations like now where everybody is contributing to the conversation versus me just talking. Because a lot of times if I'm talking, I don't know if you're really getting anything out of it. And so I'm grateful. I want to say to anybody listening, leave comments, tell us if there are topics you want us to talk about, and we'll go from there. But thank you for another great session of Free to Heal. And we'll see you guys next week, okay?
All right, bye.
See you guys.